disappointing last double-digit leads. Just your general thoughts.
Well, it's just rips your heart out, and you almost wish you wouldn't score so fast. And when you get a big run, how do you, what do? You down the ball. But it's kind of where we are right now, and I told these kids that we all kind of have a responsibility and a job to do on the field. And I think one of the things that kind of keeps showing up a little bit is we have a tendency to lose contain. And contain is a very simple word, and doesn't take a lot of ability. And we got to find a way to do those things and contain the football when the time is right. Had a couple turnovers there. Obviously, Cook had the fumble there early, and I was glad to see him bounce back. And sometimes when young men make a mistake, sometimes as coaches we want to bench them and not give them another opportunity. And we stick with them and give him an opportunity. And came back and played pretty well. So that's a testament to his character and the type of person he is and character. But you got to take your hats off to their football team. They found a way in the second half to come back and kind of slow us down a little bit on offense. And they generated some offense there with number 10. And I think we kind of helped that out at times with some missed tackles and those kind of things. But they're a good football team. I probably expect them to win the conference. And Coach Farley's done a great job. He's got a good staff there, and he's got a good nucleus of players, and I'm sure they'll do well the rest of the way.
Do you feel the defense is tiring out a little bit?
I don't know. Without watching the film, is it tiring out, or is it a lack of focus? Fundamentals and tackling at times, those kind of things, and that's what we continue to dissect on Sundays when we sit down together and look at it. And we have got to continue to find ways to massage this thing, and hopefully here in the near future here we'll start winning some of these games here in the end instead of giving them away.
Coach, you feel like you talk about losing containment. Is that what happened a lot of times for their quarterback, Rennie, just lost containment on him?
I think that's just a general principle in football, whether it's on kickoff. Certain players have contain, and you have to contain the football, and it's another word that you use on defense. So it's a concept that you have to know where your help is, and that's something that we have to continue to work on and get guys in pressure situations to realize that that's your responsibility, and your job is to make sure that the ball does not get outside of you. Very simple concept.
You talk about how tough it was to just stop his running and his throwing ability to
he's a special talent. I think you guys saw that. He kind of reminds me of some of those guys we had down there in the SEC a little bit. He's one of those guys when he's got the ball in his hand and he decides to start running with it a little bit, you kind of hold your breath, And he's a talented kid, and they use him creatively and get him one-on-one with you, and he's able to make guys miss and those type of things. That's why it's so important to contain him. You have to contain him, and if you let him get started, you see what happens. I'll let him have a 4 or 5 yard game. It's when he gets out there and makes those big ones that are tough to overcome.
Eric, they average 35 yards kickoff return. I know it's just right after the game. Did something break down there with containment?
Well, we early on in the game, we were going into the wind there, and we kicked the ball. Tried to get some, because you weren't going to kick it in the end zone. So we kicked it high, and they got a decent return on it. And they got up underneath it. So we started squibbing it and squibbed that ball down there. And if the guy contains the ball back to the rest of the players that are available to make a play, they have to drive the field, and we did not do that.
Coach, I saw earlier in the week a stat that Trevor sent me just about kind of the similarity between this year and Tressel's first year in terms of how close you were. I mean, have you looked at that or heard that?
I've had conversations with Coach Tressel, and there's similarities, and I think that's all part of this process. Anytime you come in and you take over a new program, I think there's a process that you go through. I have never been through any type of process like this in my life. I've been coaching for a long time, Usually it's a process where it takes about 2 years, 3 years for your players to buy into the coach. And usually you're not in a bunch of games. Usually you're getting beat pretty good. Now I can handle getting beat. When we get beat, I have a hard time handling giving football games away. And we've given entirely too many away. And you know, I can just assure you the future looks bright. I know we don't feel like that right now, but it does. We got a lot of positive things going on here in Youngstown, and we're going to will this thing to happen. I can assure you that. We're going to will it.
I'm sorry, what did Mark tell you afterward?
I'm sorry?
What did Mark tell you afterward, Farley? Did he tell you anything?
Oh, he told us, you know, great job, coach, and we couldn't stop you. And, you know, he says all the right things. And Mark's, I mean, he's a professional. He's a great football coach, and he's done a great job with his program. And I hope here in the near future we can have some stability like that with the nucleus of players that he's built there. And, you know, we'll get there. I can assure you.
Eric, you got the 3 points at the end of the first half, but you had the chance on a fake field goal that it was wide open. It was disappointing not to get 4 more points in that situation.
Yeah, it's a fundamental thing, you know, and you gotta make a play when the time's right, and sometimes under pressure, sometimes guys, you know, just let it go a little too much, and that was unfortunate there because that could have been another touchdown. But we ended up still getting 3 out of it. It's a good thing there that it was on 3rd down.
Coach, how difficult is it to go 6 minutes in the 4th quarter without a timeout to stop the clock, try to regroup on offense on that last drive, just in general?
Well, I think that part of it's difficult, you know, but you know, there's other points in the game that you have to use those timeouts to get to that point in the game. You know, if I let them come out and do something that I don't feel is a successful play for us, whether it be offensively or defensively, it's better off calling a timeout then, or we're never even in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about saving timeouts at the end of the game. I want to get to the end of the game and have an opportunity to win it. And, you know, at one point there, we looked like we had it pretty good.
So it wasn't a situation of you were hoping to save those timeouts for the 4th quarter to use them. You had to use them in certain spots.
I had to use them because I wanted to make sure some substitution. We had the best players on the field, specifically on 3rd down, those type of things. And you know, I think sometimes you have to call a timeout to regroup your players a little bit and get them coached up so they understand where we're at and what we need to get done.
Their program and the coach and the program is based on wins and losses, but people may look at the wins and losses and not at the scores. Are you as confident now as you were maybe in the beginning of the season when this team was setting, or do these close losses that you're in every game make it that confidence even more toward you?
I'm confident that we're very close. And I'm not going to make excuses for where we're at. I just know this. We are going to be fine in the future. It's just the impatience in all of us want it now. And you guys can see we can play with anybody, toe to toe, every game, every play. And we just got to continue to bring in players into our program so we can have guys in position to make plays in key games, key situations at the end of the game. And that's what we got to do.
Coach, it's a testament to you and your staff that you're always in these games at the end, I think, and with them being this young. The question I have for you is how hard is it to get them up after another tough loss for the next week?
Between now and Monday at 4 o'clock are probably the most difficult times for me as a coach. I lean on my staff. I have a very good staff, and you know, it's a group of guys that it's pretty easy to walk into a room and pick them up if you know you got beat bad and it's time to move on, or you're not playing hard. You know, they're playing hard. These kids are playing hard. They're playing their guts out, and I tell my coaches we got to keep trying to find ways to be even more creative than we have been.